Hi, good morning. Digitization of lending and financial inclusion. I think I will talk about lending a bit, inclusion, but diversity and inclusion is something I'm very passionate about. And I think we need more women here. That's one of my takeaway. And that's why we came. I think all of these ladies also came. So my name is Ruqsana Nuruddin. As you know, I head consumer lending and deposits technology for US consumer banking. I have around 20 years of experience in IT industry and been working on various data technologies now from past. My expertise is data and marketing technologies. How do we personalize the offer bank? How do we create various revenue streams using data monetization? That's what my expertise is on. And I'm very passionate about diversity. Like I said, we need more women representation and more inclusion at all levels. So that's the topic for us today. I'm also a mentor at Barclays Rise, which is a fintech arm. So if you want to drop by, I mentor India Rise as well as lending. And I think Rajesh has spoken very well on digitization. Digitization of lending is use of technology. You know, how do we make it more cost-effective? How do we make it more efficient? And how do we make it more accessible? You know, to larger set of population, and that is where digitization will help. In lending, mostly, you know, we have online loan applications, we have rewards, we have EMI payment, we have servicing. So all this, right? And in India, it's a lot of paperwork, right? How do we actually create more reach by digitizing? That's one point I want to touch upon. And then inclusion. In our country, various segments of people, you know, face different barriers, right? For the financial accessibility. How do we bring more and more people in the fold of this using digitization as our tool, because we can't be reaching to 1.5 billion of people just by being physically there, right? Of course, we have to be physically there, but can digitization help, right? Can technology help? How do? All right, let's look at the current state of lending in India, okay? We know that government is creating a lot of policies. So we know government is creating a lot of policies, to a lot of digital infrastructure, UPI is here, new technologies are coming in and we are trying to use them, AI chain. Again, don't use it, explicitly. And, a lot of fintechs, NBFCs, everybody coming together, trying to lend more and more, using bank as an underwriter. Co-lending is here now. Fintechs are fronting, banks are a lot of things, right? Our current, I think this is the RBI number, and there are a lot of numbers in it. 174.3 trillion is the economy currently. That's the size of the economy. And how much, what we are expecting by using digitization, we think that we'll reach there, say probably 515 billion by 20. So is it enough? It's a number. So let's look at our country, right? What we call as developed countries. What is Japan called? And I work in US banking. What is UK called? They are developed countries. So why are they developed? It's not because of just GDP growth, right? Our GDP is growing very nicely, 7 to. What is their GDP to credit ratio? Their GDP to credit ratio, for Japan it is 185. For US, UK, it's almost like around 200. Can you guess what is it? We are at 40. 7 to 8% we are growing, we are at 14%. We are saying we will reach, 30, 40, right? Is it good enough? We will still be underdeveloping country for one size of 1.5 billion, right? So, that's the factor. How do we, right? How do we reach from 40 to 200% to call a developed country? And for that we can't be lending the same set of 20% people all that, right? We give them 7 credit cards, we give them 100 loans, and we then offer them buy now, pay later, and 100 of others, right? So, no, we won't give you, right? The remaining 70%, the inclusion, women, lot of women, they're not empowered, or the way our society, right? They are not financially they are not controlling their own finances, right? How do we bring that in? How do we incent that? Marginalized community, right? Probably they don't even have access to credit, although earning, because they are not in the mainstream. They're the part of the informal economy. The informal economy, I know the Reliance and Tatas are contribute to GDP. The informal economy contribute 50% to GDP, and we're not reaching to them. We're not worried. Why we are not worried? Again, we'll reach there. But so how about we bring that 60 to 80% of underserved population in the fold to reach from 14% to 200%, right? So I think, when I was thinking about this topic, right, and hundreds of data points available all over the internet and in all our experiences, right, all our, the experiences. We can't have that progression increment, right? We have to have some accelerator as a country, as economy, by all of this group. So what can be those accelerators? And some of it we already are doing. A lot of fintechs outside, they are pretty, innovative product ideas, we're thinking about it. There are a couple of them I think we have, and I'll talk about them. The second is secure, right? And I'm taking an example of blockchain there. We have to have free, secured. In India, everything is compromised. The data is compromised. Everybody have my phone number and everybody have our private data, right? How do lending, when it comes to digitization and using it, making it more and more secure so that the trust that banks have, right? Then alternative data front, somebody talked about, right? No mumbo jumbo of data, right? Traditional data. And why don't we have a reach? We don't have the data, the 70, right? How do we use the current e-commerce boom, the the digitization boom, the government policies, to use the alternative data that's coming in, and then use the ML and all the AI stuff with? And then financial literacy. This is no product, this is no idea. This is something, our responsibility, that I want to talk. Moving on, yeah, so on the first one, right, the product, I have, and this works in US, uses a different market. We are a big country, 20, 80 countries in it. Every language, the food, everything differs. We are so localized, right? Yet we are trying to implement something. We are borrowing the credit scoring algorithm with traditional banking from US and trying to have our models working, right? It won't that way. Right? So what is that we need, right? Reach cannot happen. We cannot open so many that much. The banks don't have that kind of money, right? The virtual, how do we use this virtual chat agent and chatbots help in assist the lending to the reach for the inclusion, right? And what is that vernacular language? Hyper localized. Have it for Assam in Assamese, have it in Bengal with Bengali, have it in Chennai with Tamil, right? We have to have local virtual agent, probably voice-based, probably the app, because half the literacy in our definition is very different. It is, 26 to 30 different languages, and we all, work it. So even if you go to urban population and working population of that matter, not everybody understands the mobile banking on English, right? Why don't we have it in vernacular language? Why don't we have a virtual agent who will do a fund transfer when I just ask them to transfer the fund to expert, right? Or why don't we do, lending, make it so easy that, I want, 200 rupees cash and I have this secure deposit and this, and can this application be processed, right? Why don't we have Hindi, right? So I think virtual agents are here to stay, and they're going to be, saving a lot of cost to the bank, because we can't have branches every, small town, villages, everywhere. Whatever branches are there, they are full, and the guys go away at 2 o'clock, I know. So we can't have that, right? And also, it's a part of, personal experience. If I'm not getting loan, I know that, right? And that is a very personalized experience that we can offer in their PSC with the virtual chat. Branchless, this is an example I'm borrowing from telecom, right? They have a reach. They have created a reach all over India, SIM cards, everything, right? And the e-commerce boom has happened because of that. How Airtel has opened their stores, everybody has opened their stores, but it's just not the stores, right? Every seller become the operator. They are doing the e-KYC. Why can't we use the shopkeepers, the posties, the mobile operators? Why can't we have a bank deals, right? Why do we have to have a branch which is very, heavy invested, and then do the lending or do the banking, right? So I think this is another, the product thought that I have, like if create, make every interaction that the consumer has at all levels, in rural, into a bank on wheels interaction, I think we will include, because we want to go from 14% to 100%, remember, right? So everybody need the access to finance. And how will they have? Not by selling to the same 20%, right? So of course there is a lot of business advantage to it with the agent. It will reduce cost, transaction cost, increase the penetration, increase the profit. So I think it's win-win for us. We'll have a more inclusion in the society, At the same time, we can have, a more profit for the businesses. I think we have to open up our minds for that. This is another, some of the examples, like I said, right, 5 women in this forum. Like imagine, other areas, how much empowered women are in our IT. So how do we bring women in the fold of this financial inclusion, right? And gamification, of course, government offered that 0.5% less interest rate for the mortgage, right? Then you want to have your wife as a primary provider, right? This is the learned people, right? So imagine even at the, different societal barriers, people at different levels. I think this will encourage, right? If you incentivize giving it to women as a man, and and have the sentiment analysis, or he spoke about, right, which will tell you that women are good along with that, how do you gamify the experience? All of us poker game online, Shah Rukh Khan says we see it, right? But are we gamifying, our industry? Our industry is very boring, right? We like banking, take the money, go home. We can gamify the experience, right? Reward structure, right? Do this, get 2 rupees, get 20 rupees, not good pay, right? They only give till 135 rupees, if you know. After that, don't give. So this, will incentivize the industry. And when you have EMI repayment strategy, right? Why do we need to go in collection at this place, right? So if you have a good EMI repayment strategy and give a good behavior experience and incentivize, right? I think it will be a win. Products in women-centric, segment-centric, farmer-centric, any marginalized population that we are not reaching out, right, have products and localize them. I think those are the things which are very specific to our country that we are doing. I'll just pass by this. Enough has been said on blockchain technology. I'm not going to talk about it, but we need trust, right? The way our data is, e-commerce data, everything, right? It's all compromised. Most of our staff, we get a fake call that you have Amazon parcel coming, give us money, right? Because data is compromised. What the industry do, coming to data, the data privacy, and the smart contracts, right? I think blockchain is one thing which will democratize and, make it more trustworthy if you have smart contracts, right? The EMI, the payment. Currently, what's happening is there are institutes which are using digital, giving them, a lot of opportunity and the interest rate, but 35% rate of interest. People are taking, people at a, my helper, right? She's probably taking it 35%, 50% interest rate, right? If somebody's trying, because they have access to formal economy. But if you have a pattern, if you have a, blockchain, I think that will help, create a more trust. So there's no transparency. Even if they're getting the credit, there is no transparency. I think, third thing is, and this is a very important thing, and this is also my area of expertise, data, right? We have talked about explainability of data and why data. I think what we have done is we had the Munim system for lending, and we came from Munim system, suddenly went to the westernized method lending, where we said you have to have savings account, you have to have a transaction history, you have to have a credit history to take more credit, right? And that's working. Right? Because then you are reaching to only 20%. You're not reaching to the 80% that we are trying to. So now with the boom of e-commerce, etc., can we look at the alternative data sources that is present in the system, right? So everybody's on social media. My helper is looking at, my cook is looking at all the recipes on the social media, right? Gas bills, everybody pay their gas bills, right? They cannot have it. How about that? Electricity bill, rentals are there. We are just not looking at it, right? We are not consolidating this data. The bus ticketing system, the airplanes, the vehicle details, the toll, the e-commerce, right? There are so many footprints, right? We are not looking at the data. All we do is score the data, create models, give credit card to the 7th credit card to the same, right? So, how do you make the data more inclusive by having different segments and then using this whole AI, ML and everything new coming, right? Sentiment analysis somebody spoke about. I think that's a great way, right? Create that, bring all that data points in and create the model, which will create the reach, which will let the different segments who are outside that fold of current economy, right? And there we will reach that to 100%. And how do we incentivize also, right? How do we incentivize these people to create more and more digital foods, right? I think mining the UPI transactions, I think that's one of the biggest winner for our generation now, because everybody, even you are paying the rickshaw guy 40s, his account is reflecting it, and you can use that data to provide a credit to rickshawala, right? So that's the change that we have with, where we. And then final one, I just want to leave this one a thought. Our country, different segments where, there are different barriers, right? Lack of education, lack of gender discrimination. I'm not solving the societal problem here. But how does the financial institution, how do we empower these segments by bringing in the financial literacy? I think our kids, right, they know how to, do maths and science, and they're becoming very good engineers. Financially, literacy is not there in the school. I mean, why not, right? In all vernacular languages to everyone. This is the very basic place, I think, where we start. Apart from that, I think the chatbots, the fintechs, the banks, all the reach that we are creating, it is our responsibility to have a education going on in that sector, right? That is gamifying the experience, right? You answer this, you will get this loan. You do this, you get this. This will improve. This has to become a movement, right? And not just government. Each one of us, because we are the one who understand, right? We are socially responsible to create this movement and this literacy. So I think all of us has to collaborate and change, bring that literacy element. Everybody goes on Facebook, but nobody goes and talk about, loans and savings, right? To the kid, to the, to the Insta, right? I think that's where it has to start. All of us has to do, and we all have a moral responsibility. Just, I want to leave you with data points, as well as, new product ideas. All of you are fintechs and, banks who are already doing it. But it becomes the part of the, who knows more, it falls on the shoulder of that person. So that's the thought I want to leave you with. Thank you so much.